In this video, we are going to talk about 4 things that you can do every day to improve your English. I think we can all agree that learning English or learning any language takes time and effort and dedication. But the most successful language learners, they find a way for their language to become a part of their daily life. It just becomes a habit like brushing your teeth. If you want to improve, your English practice should become a daily habit. To help you with this, I'm going to share 4 things you should be doing every day to improve your English. And yes, I am suggesting that you do all 4 things every day, but they're not huge tasks. And we're going to talk about how you can make them a bit of fun too. So come check it out. Number 1. The very first thing on my list is pronunciation. Yes, you should be practicing your pronunciation every day. And it's not to try and get rid of your accent, but to make it clear enough that others can comfortably understand you when you speak. I can tell you the number of advanced English students I've had who've had amazing grammar and vocabulary skills, but so much trouble communicating because their accent makes it quite challenging for others to understand them. So, of course, all of this affects smooth, positive, comfortable conversation. And depending on where you learned English, your teacher may not have focused on pronunciation. It may not have been the priority at the time. You see, if you learned English at school, your teacher's main aim was probably to get you high marks in your exam. Pronunciation was probably not their focus at the time. But in the real world, when you're using English to speak with other people, your pronunciation, your fluency when you speak, it's so incredibly important. Get into the habit of learning and using the correct pronunciation today because it's going to save you lots of headaches and confusion down the track. Plus, practicing your pronunciation every day consistently, it's gonna help you to make noticeable improvements in a short space of time. So, how can you start doing this? I recommend that you learn the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. Learning the IPA will allow you to correctly pronounce every single English word using the correct English sounds. Another great way to practice your pronunciation is with my imitation lesson. So in these lessons, I help you to copy me and shadow me as I speak. Or watch my video about how I became fluent in English at home. You can watch it right up here. They're really awesome, quick 5 to 10 minute videos that you can practice with regularly, so add them to a playlist and keep coming back to them and practice with them often.
Of makeup. Did you know that makeup has been around for over 100,000 years? From ancient civilizations to Hollywood, makeup has not only been a beauty tool but a way to signal status, health and attractiveness.
After you've practiced the lesson for a few times, make a recording of yourself and compare it to my voice. Try to identify some of the mistakes that you are making with your pronunciation. I've added a link to my imitation lessons in the description, and I'll add one at the end of this video as well that you can check out. You can also simply read out loud to improve your pronunciation. Doing this every day will help your mouth muscles to get working and creating English sounds and get more comfortable doing it. It's as simple as that, and it doesn't need to take you long, just 5 or 10 minutes a day is plenty. Just make sure you're doing it consistently. You could even do it by singing English songs. Create one opportunity to absorb English every day. To absorb is to take in information, so you're like a sponge soaking things up. Taking in new ideas, new words, new ways of expressing yourself, and you can do this in lots of different ways. So many ways. Listening to a podcast or an audiobook, you could watch an English movie or any video on YouTube. Read a book or a blog post. In fact, you probably want to mix this up during the week, right? To get things interesting, a podcast on Monday, read a book on Tuesday. Whatever floats your boat. Now, again, This doesn't have to be a huge time-consuming task, but it's worth spending some time searching for the right type of content. It must be stuff that is interesting for you. If you're into football or you love makeup tutorials or romance novels or soap operas. If you love the idea of sailing around the world, I've been watching a YouTube channel called Sailing la Vagabonde, and they vlog about their life sailing around the world on a yacht. In fact, if you're interested, I've added the link in the description below. But the point is, find something that interests you and excites you, because you need to look forward to doing it every single day. It shouldn't feel like you're doing English practice. So, I have two little recommendations here. Firstly, you need to find the time that you're going to do it and declare it. That is your daily time to absorb English. So it could be on the bus on your way to work or while you are eating breakfast. I've always found that attaching an activity to the task helps you to make it part of your routine. And while you're doing it, just keep a notebook handy so that you can write down expressions or new words, which you can look up and check later on. Simple as that. Writing every day has some amazing benefits. But before I talk about that, I want to make it clear, I'm not talking about writing an essay, okay? I'm just talking about writing a few thoughts or a few ideas down. It only has to take a few minutes and nobody ever has to see it. It's just for you. So there's a few reasons why writing every day is an excellent habit to get into. It helps your vocabulary to stick. Writing is one of the best ways to recall new words and expressions that you've come across. When so many of my students have asked me, what is the best way to remember vocabulary? This is my recommendation. As you're reading or watching TV shows or books, you come across new ideas and words and you write them down, but then you start to use them yourself. You think of sentences and your own ideas about how to use these words. That way you are producing your own sentences rather than just listening to other people's, and it helps. It just sticks in your mind and then you can improve it. Once you've written something, you can do so much with it. You can copy-paste it into a grammar checker like Grammarly to help you to identify some of the errors that you are making. So Grammarly is free to use. I've included a link in the description below because it's awesome. It helps you to see the mistakes that you're making, like maybe you're using the wrong preposition or you don't need to use an article when you've written one. So I really recommend that you take a look to help you see and realize the mistake that you're making, and you can also review your own work. Lastly, join an English discussion about the stuff that interests you. Now this sounds serious and maybe complicated, but it's not, I promise. I'm just talking about joining an active group or online community where there are people interacting. They're sharing their ideas, they're giving opinions, and you're able to respond. So you can comment and actually be part of the discussion as it happens. So how do you find these places? It takes a little work. You can just Google cooking and join the first group that you find. Join a few different ones, see which one is most active, which one has really interesting discussions happening in it. Sometimes nothing gets posted in these groups for days, and that's not really helpful for you, right? So, I would start by writing down your top 5 hobbies or interests. Don't start with English language. What else are you into? Are you into politics, or yoga, or marketing, photography, sports? I mean, you probably already follow people or are part of groups that are like this. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can connect with me on Instagram and my Telegram here. I hope that you find all of these ideas and these suggestions useful. Let me know if you're doing some of these things already or if you're planning to put any of them into practice. Let me know how it goes. And as promised, here is one of my imitation lessons to help you work on your pronunciation. I'll see you in there.